It is God that gives power, but decent people take away power when misused. Welcome to section 10 of chapter 12 of the Holy Quran. And section 10 begins with sign 80. Namshi. فلما استيأسوا منه خلصوا نجيا. When they saw no hope of his yielding, they held a conference in private. Najwa, we did Najwa before in this video in my channel or on my channel. فلما استيأسوا منه خلصوا نجيا. They held a conference in private, secret meeting. Najwa. كبيرهم قال كبيرهم ألم تعلموا أن أباكم قد أخذ عليكم موثيقا من الله. The leader among them said, "Know ye not that your father Abakum did take an oath from you in God's name? Anna Abakum kad akhadha alaykum mawthakan min Allahi wa min qabli ma faradtum fi Yusufa wa min qabli ma faradtum fi Yusufa." And how before this, min qabli, you did fail in your duty with Joseph. You did fail in your duty with Joseph. وَمِن قَبْلُ, before this, مَا فَرَدْتُمْ, how you fail in your duty. فِي يُوسُفَ, your oath from, and how you did before this, you did fail in duty with Joseph. فِي يُوسُفَ, with Joseph. فَلَنْ أَبْرَحَ الْأَرْضِ حَتَّى يَأْذَنَ لِي أَبِي أَوْ يَحْكُمَ اللَّهُ لِي. Therefore will I not leave this land until my father permits me, or God judges for me. Lam abraha al-ardi hatta yazana li abi, until my father gives me permission. Aw yakuma lahu li, or God judges for me. Yakuma Allah li. Wa huwa khairul hakimin. And he is the best to judge. Who? God the Almighty. He is the best to judge. There is commentary for it, 1742, along with 1753. Sorry, 1752, along with 1753. Let's go there. Kabir may mean the elders. Kabir may mean the elders. But in chapter 12, 78 above, Kabir is distinguished. Sorry, Kabir is distinguished from from Sheikh, from Sheikh, and I have translated the one as venerable and the other as aged. Mm. Sheikh, Sheikh is also old. Well, the commentator is telling that he has distinguished the Sheikh, and I have translated the one, that's Sheikh, as venerable, and the other as aged. In 22, in chapter 22, 71, Kabir obviously means leader or chief and has no reference to age. I therefore translate here by the word leader. That brother, that brother among them who took the most active part in these transactions. Full stop. His name is not given in the Quran. The eldest brother was Reuben. The elder brother was Reuben. Full stop. But according to biblical story, the brother who had taken the most active part in the transaction was Judah, one of the elder brothers, being the fourth son after Reuben, Simeon and Levi, and of the same mother as these. It was Judah who stood surety to Jacob for Benjamin. Genesis Genesis XIXLIII. Apparently, Genesis. These Roman letters give me troubles. XIIXLIII. Maybe verse 9. So, viewers, I'll leave that to you. It is therefore natural that Judah should, as here, offer to stay behind. XILL, that is maybe 43, if I'm not mistaken. 43. XIL, 43. Pardon me if that's not the case. It is therefore natural that Judah should stay behind. Then 1753, the second commentary to the same sign, 80. The pledge he had given was to his father and in God's name. Therefore, he was bound both to his father and to God. He must await his father's orders and remain here as pledged. Full stop. Unless God opened out some other way, unless God opens out from some other way. For example, the Egyptian wazir might relent, semicolon. If so, he could go back with Benjamin to his father, and his pledge would be satisfied. We go to sign 81. We go to sign 81. Okay. Irju ila abikum. Irju ila abikum. Fakulu ya abana. Fakulu ya abana. Inna ibnika. Inna ibnika saraka. Inna abaka saraka. وما شهدنا إلا بما علمنا وما كنا لغيب hafizina. Turn ye back, turn ye back to your father, and say, O our father, behold, thy son committed theft. We bear witness only to what we know, and we could not well guard against the unseen. How can Joseph be? How can Jacob believe this? No good bad child. He cannot believe it. Hmm? Okay, commentary 1754. 1754. He stole in secret and without our knowledge. How could we? How? Oh, uh-huh. How could we, in the circumstances, prevent it? This may have been a good statement for the other 9 brothers, but Judah was himself personally and specifically pledged. That was signed 1754 that was note 1754 to sign 81. We now go to sign 82. Mm. Then, I think this is to the father, this is to Jacob. Mm. واسأل واسأل القرية التي كنا فيها وال والإيرة التي 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 أكلنا التي أقبلنا والقرية. Let me take it again. اسأل القرية التي كنا فيها والإيرة التي أقبلنا فيها. Us at the town where we have been and the caravan in which we returned. وَإِنَّا لَصَادِقِينَ. And you will find we are indeed telling the truth. لَصَادِقِينَ. We are indeed telling the truth. Let's go to the commentary 1755. To which, for the truth of the story, the 9 brothers are asked by Judah to appeal to their father to inquire at the place where they stayed and the caravan with which they came, and he would find that the facts were as they stated them. So this time they are telling the father the truth. As far as they are concerned, they are telling Jacob the truth. Hmm? Uh, the 9 brothers came back and told their father as they had been instructed by Judah. Um, we go to Psalm 83. Wakala, wakala, bal sawallat lakum anfisukum. Sawallat lakum anfisukum. Amran. Jacob said, here is Jacob. Jacob said, nay, but ye have yourselves contrived a story good enough for me. Hmm? Good enough for me. Kala bal sawallat lakum anfusukum amran. Fasabari, fasabarun jamilun. فصبر جميل. فصبر جميل. Uh, a story good enough for you to practice. Good enough for you. So patience is most fitting for me. And patience is most fitting for me. فصبر فصبر جميل. Most fitting. Patience is more fitting, into brackets, for me. Asa Allah an yaktiyani bihim jami'an. Asa Allah an yaktiyani bihim jami'an. Innahu huwa alimun hakimun. Joseph further said, maybe God will bring them back all to me in the end. Maybe God will bring them back all to me in the end. Asa Allahu an yatiyani bihim jami'an. Innahu huwal alimun hakimun. For he is indeed full of knowledge and wisdom. God is indeed full of knowledge and wisdom. Psalm 1756 and 1757. Let's go to 56 first. Jacob was absolutely stunned by the story. He knew his darling little Benjamin too, his little darling Benjamin too well to believe that he had committed theft. He flatly refused to believe it and called it a cock and bull story, which indeed it was, though not in the sense in which he reproached the 9 brothers. With the eye of faith, he saw clearly the innocence of Benjamin, though he did not see every detail of what had happened. 57, 1757. With the eye of faith, he clung to even a larger hope. Perhaps all 3 of lost sons would come back, Joseph, Benjamin, and Judah. His faith in God was unswerving. Although, alas, the present facts altogether unnerved him. We go to the next sign, which is sign 84. Oh my God. Watawalla anhum wakala yaks wakala ya safa ala Yusufa wa i- wa wa ibyadat wa ibyadat wa ibyadat wa ibyadat ayina wa ibyadat ay wa ibyadat wa ibyadat ayinahu wa ibyadat wa ibyadat wa ibyadat ayinahu min al huzni fa huwa kazimun. And he turned away from them, Fatawalla anhum wakala, and said, Ya Safa ala Yusufa, and said, how great is my grief for Joseph, Yasafa ala Yusufa. How great is my grief for Joseph, and his eyes became white. Beida obadat wa ibda at white wa ibdadat ayuna ainahu wa ibdadat ainahu wa ibdadat ainahu, and his eyes ainahu became white. Ibdaat with tears. Minal huzni, with tears. Fahuwa kazimun, suppressed with silent sorrow. Huwa kazimun, suppressed with silent sorrow. 1758. 1758. The old father's grief is indescribable, yet with what master strokes it is described here. One sorrow brings up the memory of another, and a greater one, Benjamin, is now gone. So Joseph went, Benjamin went, Judah went. So 3 minus, or 12 minus 3, 9 children left. Oh, but Joseph, exclamation mark. His pretty dream of boyhood, his pretty dream of boyhood, his greatness foretold, and now, and now how dark was the work, and now how dark was the world, exclamation mark. He could but weep, exclamation mark. Tears might might give relief, and his red and swollen eyes might yet regain their light. But his grief was too deep for tears. His eyes lost their color and became a dull white. The light became a mere blur. The light became a mere blur, a white glimmer, full stop. Darkness seemed to cover everything. So it was in the outside world. So was it in the mind. So it was in the outside world. So it is in his mind. So it was in his mind, sorry. His grief was unshared, unexpressed, and uncomplaining. Full stop. Who could share it? Who could understand it? He bore his sorrow in silence, yet his faith was undimmed. Yet his faith was undimmed. And he trimmed the lamp of patience, that sovereign virtue of those who have faith. He trimmed the lamp of patience, that sovereign virtue for those who have faith. And that was 1758. Note 1758 to sign 84. We now go to sign 85. Probably we won't be able to finish this long section. We now go to sign 85. Let me see how much we have left. We now go to sign 85. Kalu ta'allahi. Tafta'u kalu ta'allahi. Tafta'u taskru. Taftahu taskru. Yusufa tafta'u taskru Yusufa. Hata takuna haradan. Au takuna minal haliki. They said, by God, never will thou cease to remember Joseph, until thou reach the last, until thou reach the last extremity of illness, or until thou die. Hatta takunu hadaran. Haradan. Hatta takunu haradan. Aw takunu minal haliki. Halikina is here is died, dead, die, until thou die. Halikina. I think the basic, the main meaning is to destroy. At least life is destroyed. Pardon me if I'm not right. Uh, is there any commentary to read? Yes, there is. 1759. 1759. A speech full of jealousy, taunting. A speech full of jealousy, taunting malice, and lack of understanding. Dash one that would have driven mad anyone anyone less endowed with patience and wisdom than was than was Jacob, the prophet of God. It shows that the sons were still unregenerate. It shows that the sons were still unregenerate, though the time of their repentance and reclamation was drawing nigh. NIG was drawing nigh. That's near. Full stop. The cruel heartlessness of their words is particularly out of place as Jacob bore his sorrow in silence and complained to no mortal, but poured out his destruction and grief only to God, as stated in the next verse. And that next verse is verse 86. Uh, Kala, Inama ashku bashya. Kala, Inama ashku bashi wa huzni ila Allahi wa alamu min Allahi ma la ta'lamun. Wa alamu min Allahi ma la ta'lamun. He said, I only complain of my destruction and anguish to God, and I know from God that which ye know not. This sentence is ascribed to Noah when he told his pagan people, idol worshipping people, that he knew from God what they did not know. And you can imagine it's now reoccurring here with Joseph, centuries after Noah. So what is it? Ya Baniya, Ishabu fatahassa, fatahassasu, Ishabu fatahassasu min Yusufa wa akhihi wala ta wala ta wala ta'i wala wala ta'iyasu min ruhillahi. O my sons, go ye and inquire about Joseph and his brother, and never give up hope of God's soothing mercy. Wala tai asu mina ruhi lahi. God's soothing mercy. Innahu لا إنه لا يسوء من الروح الله إلا قوم الكافرين. Uh, Truly, no one despairs of God's soothing mercy except those who have no faith. Yes, no one despairs of God's soothing mercy except those who have no faith. Despairs is Despairs, in case I don't call it well. Uh, we go to the commentary, and the commentary is 1762. 1762. No, I don't think we did 1761. I don't think so. 1761 to 86. 1761. Let's go there first. 1761 to sign 86. And it is Jacob's plaint to Allah is to God is about himself, is about himself, not about God's doings. He bewails He bewails the destruction of his mind and his occasional breaking out of those bounds of patience which he had set for himself. Now we go to one that was commentary 1760. 17, now we go, that's 1760 rather. That's 1760 to sign 86. Now we still go to sign 86 to 1761. He saw of God's merciful and beneficent dealings with man in a way his shallow sons did not, and his perfect faith in God also told him that all would be well. He never gave up hope of Joseph, as his directions in the next verse show. They may be supposed to have been spoken after a little silence of grief and thought. That silence I have indicated in punctuation by the dots. Now we go to 1762. 1762 to sign 87, which begins, "Oh, my sons." The word Rauh, not Ruh. The word Rauh, spelled R-A-U-H, not Ruh, not R-U-H. As some translators have mistakenly construed it, as some translators have mistakenly construed it, full stop. Rauh includes the idea of a mercy that steals, or calms our distracted state, and is particularly appropriate here in the math of Jacob. That's Rauh, 1762. Where is it? ولا تأخذوا من الروح ولا تأخذوا من الروح من الروح Allah, God, Allah, من الروح الله. So that's the Rahu that is explained here. Uh, Rahu includes the idea of mercy that steals or calms our distracted state, and is particularly appropriate here in the math of Jacob. Sorry, in the math of Jacob. Or we go to 1763 to the same sign, 87, 1763. Jacob ignores and forgives the sting. Joseph ignores and forgives the sting and malice in the speech of his sons. And like a true prophet of God, still wishes them well, gives them sound advice, and sends them on an errand which is to open their eyes to the wonderful ways of providence. as much as it will bring consolation to his own distressed soul. He asked them to go again to in search of Joseph and Benjamin. Perhaps by now he had an idea that they might be together in Egypt. In any case, their stock of grain is again low, and they must seek its replenishment in Egypt. They must seek its replenishment in Egypt. And that is note 1763 to sign 87. To sign 87. We now go to sign 88. Uh, فلما دخلوا عليه قالوا يا أيها العزيز مسنا وأهلنا در ومسانا وأهلنا الدر وجئنا ببداءة مرج مزجاة بداءة مزجاة فأوفوا لنا الكيل وتصدق علينا. When they came back into Joseph's presence, they said, O exalted one, Ya Azizu, distress has seized us and our family. We have now brought back scanty capital. So pay us full measure. We pray thee, into brackets, we pray thee and treat it as clarity to us. For God doeth reward the charitable. Al Musadikina, the charitable. I did this before. Sadaka in our local language is charity, doing charity. In Allah, yajzi al Musadikina. For God doeth reward the charitable. We go to note 1764. The 9 brothers come back to Egypt according to their father's direction. Their first care is to see the wazir. They must tell him of all their father's distress and excite his pity. If perchance he might release Benjamin. Full stop. They would describe the father's special mental distress, as well as the distress which was the common lot of all farming time, of all distress of all in farming time. Of all in farming time. They had spent a great part of their capital and stock in trade. Full stop. They would appeal to his charity. Full stop. It might please so great a man, the absolute governor of a wealthy state, and they did so. Perhaps they mentioned their father's touching faith, and that brought Joseph out of his shell, as in the next verse, as in the next sign. And that is sign 89. Am I right? That is sign 89, yes. Kala, hal alimtum ma fa'altum bi Yusufa wa ahihi is antum jahilun. Joseph, he said, know ye how ye dealt No. This is not Joseph. He said, Know ye, I think this is Joseph. Yes. He said, Know ye how you dealt with Joseph and his brother, not knowing what ye were doing, into brackets, not knowing what ye were doing. 1765. Joseph now wants to reveal himself and touch their conscience. He had but to remind them of the true facts as to their treatment of their brother Joseph, whom they pretended to have lost. He had by now also learnt from Benjamin what slights and injustice he too had suffered at their hands after Joseph's pro- protection had been removed from him in their home. Had not Joseph himself seen them, but too prone to believe the worst of Benjamin and to say the worst of Joseph? But Joseph would be charitable, not only in the sense which they meant when they asked for a charitable grant of grain, but in a far higher sense. It will, he would forgive them and put the most charitable construction on what they did. Dash, what what they did, just dash, that they knew not what they were doing. Exclamation mark. 17. We now go to sign 90. So they are now uh, coming to themselves. Kalu, Kalu, I, Kalu, Ainaka, La Anta, Kana, Kalu, Ainaka, La Anta Yusufa. They said, art thou indeed Joseph? Kalu, Ay, Ayinaka, La Anta, Yusufa. Art thou indeed Joseph? Kala, Ana Yusufu, Wahaza, Ahi. He said, I am Joseph, and this is my brother, Benjamin with him. As I believe he just held Benjamin close to his body. So this is my brother. Haza Ahi. Kat, kat, man, kad manna Allah, kad manna Allahu alena, kad manna Allahu alena. God has indeed been gracious to us all. Alena, to us, into brackets, all. Manna, gracious. Allahu alena, to us all. Uh, Alena, innahu, innahu man yattaki. Innahu man yattaki wa yasbiru fa inna Allaha la yudi'u ajran muhsinin. His to us all, behold, he that is righteous and patient, never will God suffer the reward to be lost of those who do right. Those who do right will never will always gain the benefit of the righteousness of their righteousness. Uh, let's go to. Is there any commentary for it? Yes, commentary 1766. Commentary 1766. Their father's words, the way events were shaping themselves. Full stop. Their father's words, comma, the way events were shaping themselves. Full stop. Joseph's questioning, perhaps Benjamin's manner now, not a slave kept in subjugation, not a slave kept in subjection, but one in perfect love and understanding with his great wazir, comma, dash, perhaps also a recollection of Joseph's boyish dream, dash. All these things had prepared their minds, and they asked the direct question, art thou Joseph? So when it was clear that it was Joseph addressing them, they asked, art thou Joseph? They get a direct reply, yes, I am Joseph. And if you have still any doubt of my identity, here is Benjamin. Ask him. We have suffered much, but patience and right conduct are at last rewarded by God. Uh, and that was note 176 to sign 90. Yes, to sign 90. We now go to sign 91. Kalu, Kalu, ta'alla, ta'allahi, Kalu, ta'allahi, lakat, at, lakat, atharika, lakat atharaka, Allahu alayna, wa in, wa in kunna laha ti'in. Kunna laha ti'in. They said, the brothers said, eh, by God indeed, by God indeed has God preferred thee above us, and we certainly have been guilty of sin. Wa sorry, wa inna kunna laha thi'in. We are guilty of sin. 1767. That's the commentary, 1767. The scales fall from the eyes of the brothers. We may suppose that they had joined Judah at this interview, and perhaps what Judah had seen when he was alone helped in the process of their enlightenment. They are convinced of sin out of their own mouths, and now there is no area per se. There's no area per se. Not English, maybe Roman, I don't know. Probably Roman or Greek, I don't know. No area per se, or French rather. No area per se, pardon me. Comma, no reserve thought in their minds. They freely confess their wrongdoing and the justice of Joseph's preferment. That was commentary 1767. 1767 to sign 91. We now go to sign 92. He said, no, he's okay, I can read English first. He said, this day let no reproach be cast on you. God will forgive you, and he is the most merciful of those who show mercy. Kala, Kala, la tariba alaykum. He said, this day let no reproach be cast on you. La tatriba alaykum al-yoma. This day. La tatriba alaykum al-yoma. Yakfi, yakfiru Allahu lakum. Yakfiru Allahu lakum. Wa huwa arhamal rahimin. He is the most. God will forgive you, and he is the most of those who show mercy. Huwa arhama rahimin. 1768. That's the commentary. 1768. Joseph is most generous. He is glad that they have at least seen the significance of what happened. But but he will not allow them at this great moment of reconciliation to dwell on their conduct with reproaches against themselves. Full stop. There is more urgent work to do. There's more urgent work to do. An aged and beloved father is eating out his heart. An aged and beloved father is eating out his heart in far Canaan, in love and longing for his Joseph, and he must be told all immediately and comforted in body, mind, and estate, all in double inverted commas, comfort in body, mind, and estate, inverted commas closed. And so he tells the brothers to hurry back immediately with his shirt as a sign of recognition, as a proof of his wonderful happenings. We've done this before, but we did it without the commentaries. And I'm repeating it only because of the commentaries. And that was commentary 1768. 1768 to sign 92. Now we go to 93. I suppose that's the last sign. Yes, that's the last sign. Is Habu Bikamisi. Is Habu Bikamisi haza. Is Habu Bikamisi haza. Fa alkuhu ala wajhihu ala wajh ala wajhi fa alkuhu ala wajhi abi fa alkuhu ala wajhi abi yakti basiran. Go with this shirt. Go with this my shirt. Kamisi haza. Yakti bi kamisi haza. Go with this my shirt. And cast it over the face of my father. Wa alkuhu ala wachi abi yakti basiran. He will come to see clearly. He will come to see clearly. Yakti wa yakti basiran. Wa atuni bi ahlikum ajma'in. Wa atuni bi ahlikum ajma'in. Then come ye here to me together with all your family. Commentary 1769. Commentary 1769. It will be remembered that they had covered their crime by taking his shirt, putting on the stains of blood, and pretending that he had been killed. He had been killed by a wolf. See above, that's 12, chapter 12, 17 to 18. Full stop. Now that they have confessed their crime and been forgiven, and they have joyful news to tell Jacob about Joseph. Full stop. Joseph gives them another shirt of his to prove the truth of their story. Full stop. It is rich shirt, befitting a ruler of Egypt, to prove his good fortune, and yet perhaps to design the good fortune, and yet perhaps in design and many colors, into brackets 12, 18. 12, chapter 12, sign 18, note 1651. Note 1651. I think we've gone past it. Note 1651. Brackets closed, into brackets. Were reminiscent of Joseph. Full stop. The first shirt plunged Jacob into grief. Yes. This one will now restore him. See the verses following. See the verses following, or see the signs following. So the first shirt of Joseph put the old man in grief. Now this one opened his eyes. And viewers, that is the end of the section. And that is the end of section 10. When we come back, God willing, shall go to section 11. Till then, I salute all of you and pardon me for my trespasses. May God be with you all. Ilaleka, bye bye, au revoir.